So let's do
So
this.
definitely ground rules. So what do we have with mics? It looks like hosts are off mics, or how are we doing this here?
Well,
This
you
is
should
your
all be
this
muted
is your
unless you
Zoom
have
in.
something to say.
Yeah. So,
I think that's a pretty good approach. We're pretty open. If you have something to say, questions, something to add, feel free to unmute yourself. Just obviously try to be courteous to everybody else. And, we can't throw things at you. So, maybe virtually we'll try, but that won't have the same impact.
No, I hear you. I mean, I like the virtual meetup because you don't throw things at me when I'm talking, so that's always a good thing. So.
One day we'll be able to do that again. Okay, well, welcome to the Richmond, Virginia combined user group meetup. So we are here today to talk about our Spring 21 release, which really by now you all should have in production. So hopefully you kind of know some of the things already. And if you don't, then hopefully you didn't break anything. With that, kind of our agenda. So first of all, as we started already, welcome to everybody who's new, everybody who's new to Salesforce or to our group. It's phenomenal to see you guys, and it's really nice to actually see anybody who's not my wife or my daughter.
It's nice to see you too.
It's just nice to see people, yeah, so, in case you don't know who we are, this is us. John, you want to just introduce yourself? Or maybe, sorry, Lacey, would you like to go first?
Lacey's going to be first, yes.
I am? Oh, no. Okay.
I just decided.
Hi, everybody. Okay, that's fine. Hi, everybody. I'm Lacey Hancher, formerly Capital One in Richmond, but now I am a senior business analyst at a boutique global consulting firm called Salesforce, and I am your admin user group leader. So if coding is not your thing, come talk to me.
No, that's not true. If your coding is not your thing, come learn how to code, is what you should say. I'm kidding. John?
And I'm John Daniel, and I'm also here in Richmond, Virginia. I am currently the Senior Director for Digital Platforms at Steampunk Inc. Steampunk is based out of Washington, D.C. We're a government contractor doing a lot of Salesforce work. And we like our name and have a lot of people going around saying, yeah, we're punkers, and we just leave it that way. So this kind of makes, there's actually a good steampunk contingent here on the call today, so I'm excited about that. But I am one of the co-leaders for the developer user group here in Richmond. And so very excited to have all about it. And Ohad, would you introduce yourself, please?
Sure.
Really,
my name is Ohad.
If
you don't know, my name is Israeli, and that's that weird combination of letters that you see here. I, with John, lead the developer user group, and I'm the CEO of Praxis. We're also a Salesforce consulting organization, much smaller than Salesforce or Steampunk, but still doing some really cool stuff and fun stuff. And I do have a shameless plug here. Today, we are hiring a developer. So if you know or are a developer and you're looking for a job,
send them my way, because we're going to be hiring as well. And so, we're looking for more than just one developer. So,
well, I just need the one. Voice? So I need you. John can hire anybody else. Anyways, with that shameless plug out of the way, we also would like today to make a little announcement and introduce Ward, who's right here next to me, hopefully on your screen as well. Ward is now the leader of the brand new, just announced yesterday, Richmond, Virginia nonprofit user group. So Ward, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us what the nonprofit group is going to be all about?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks, Ohad. So I was up in DC for a long time, and I was an admin group lead up there, and really kind of the genesis of the nonprofit group starting in Richmond began with a meeting last year that I attended with other group leads in the DC area. It was in downtown DC, and it was right before COVID hit, and there were about 150 plus people, really close to actually Capital One Arena downtown, and it was organized by the DC nonprofit group up there. So they had an event, and they had a main speaker there, DC Scores, and they talked about how they use Salesforce to really help their nonprofit work much more efficiently and help them scale. And it really just got my mind thinking, at some point in the future, I want to get more into helping out nonprofits and using a skill set that I have, Salesforce, to help them. And yeah, so eventually COVID happened, moved the family down to Richmond to settle a little bit this past fall, then finally got the gears turning, talking to Salesforce around November timeframe. And yeah, I think the goals really of the group is to get local nonprofits, small, medium, large, wherever, and get them talking, networking, sharing ideas, gaining tips from one another, and try to be successful whether they use Salesforce or not, if they are interested in using Salesforce, or see how other nonprofits use Salesforce. So I think our goal will be have a meeting each quarter at the very least. And it's really awesome what is here right now with the collaborative environment. So further than that, our goals and requirements are still TBD because it's so hot off the press now. But yeah, that's pretty much the overview there. So if you're interested, I have the page set up. It's very limited right now, so you know, don't make fun of me too much there. We'll get it to a good point, but yeah, so I can send that out in the chat. But yeah, just let me know.
I actually created 2 bit.ly links for you. They're right there on the screen at the bottom right now.
There you go.
So the first one is the Trailblazer community group link, which is where you would RSVP and get announcements from join the group, and you'd get announcements for new events. And the second one is the Trailblazer collaboration group, where you can chat and meet people and network and all that other fun stuff. So if you want to just take a moment, record those. Obviously, we'll share all of this after the meeting. Anything else, Ward?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
Well, welcome. It's awesome. It's been a while since we had a new group here, so it's very nice to see that, and it's very nice to see such a large audience. I think our virtual meetings have been always a little struggling behind where we were on the in-person. So it's really great to see a good attendance here. So with that, we're about to use Kahoot. So for those of us who have been with us before for one of these, we are using Kahoot. It's kind of like a Jeopardy style online tool. You'll all get to join, sign in, and we'll have a quiz that is kind of real time. See a question, get answers, and keep track of the points. And the 3 top leaders, I obviously can't hand you swag right now. We don't have any certificates at this point, but we'll keep your name, and when we can finally meet in person, we will hand you your hard-earned swag. So without, I guess, talking too much, as I typically do, let's start by everybody opening a browser window, going to kahoot.com, and enter the game pin, and Lacey will get that in a second. Yes, Lacey?
Yeah.
Kahoot.it.
Oh, sorry, Kahoot.it. Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You can also play on your phone, right? You can also play on.
Yeah, you can play it on your phone, or you can play it on your browser.
So you can go to the app.
Lacey, are you going to be sharing your screen?
I can share my screen.
Okay, let me stop sharing mine and let you take over. So Kahoot.it it is. And take a moment to get there. Here's the beautiful pin.
All right, there we go. Can everyone hear the music? There should be music.
There is no music. I can't hear any music at all.
You're not sharing computer audio. We have to stop sharing. And then when you share, you can select on the bottom, there's like a checkbox that says share computer audio. Look at that. The names keep getting added.
Not developer. Oh gosh, really?
Oh gosh.
We're almost there. We got 1 people on the call, so let's see. 25. Anybody having any problems? Just shout out in the just type in the conversation either chat window. And
While we're doing that, I'm going my dog out. There you go, buddy. Sorry if the door keeps opening and closing behind me. That's why.
Yep.
All right. So we have 25 people, 26 people, 27 people. I'm here.
Awesome.
Right there.
We have 31 on the call, including us. So that means we're probably either still waiting for 4 or 4 have left to get a glass of water and don't even know that we're playing Kahoot. But I guess we can get started.
Let's go ahead and get started. Oh, we got 28.
all right. So
Everyone ready?
anybody, yeah, speak up if you need more time. Let me see. Based on the board look that everybody has right at the moment, I think most everybody's on. So
Bored? How dare you, John?
I know.
It's
kind of
excitement build up. That's the it's the pre-excitement look.
All right, let's go ahead and get this party started.
Awesome.
All right.
Get ready.
Welcome to Kahoot. Spring 21 release notes. 3, 2, 1. All right. Lightning Flow has been renamed to Einstein Flow, Salesforce Flow, Superflow, or Hyperflow. That's trademarked, actually. Awesome. Einstein, Salesforce, Superflow, Hyperflow. 4, 3, 2,
I'm dating myself,
1.
There you go.
Salesforce Flow.
Awesome. So most everybody knows. So this is just a branding thing. Nothing really changed, but it's time. I think Salesforce is has been on a streak of renaming everything to Lightning about 4 years ago. Then I think over the last couple of years, everything has been renamed to Einstein, and now they're starting to do a little bit away with that.
Everything comes
Yes,
full circle.
absolutely.
All right. So Weston
Weston is
takes the lead. Great job,
Okay.
Weston.
Yeah.
All right.
Your score is how fast you respond. So not just if you get the answer right. So
Okay, next.
All right, next question. What are the new capabilities of Flow? Screen elements can now support multiple columns. You can use LWC components in Flow screens. Prior values are now available in record-triggered flows, or record-triggered flows allow customized bulkification options. What are the new capabilities?
I love those new images in Kahoot, Lacey. Beautiful.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Oh, wow, this was a tough one. So there were 2 correct answers. Screen elements now support multiple columns, and prior values are now available in record-triggered flows.
So this is actually really meaningful stuff, right? So if you have been using Flow, and if you haven't, you should absolutely be using Flow. Away with Process Builder, Flow is the way of the future. It's been getting a lot of love and a lot of attention in the last few releases. About 2 releases ago, they released the record-triggered Flow, which basically means you can use Flow instead of a Process Builder. and they've been increasing what you can do with that. One of the big things that was missing was the ability to access prior values. So if you want to see if something changed on a record update, you couldn't do this in the flow. Now you can. In addition, on the screen flows, you can now use multiple columns, which is phenomenal because it's just something that's really helpful. Because I mean, the reality is screen flows are so powerful now with custom. By the way, you can use LWC components in flow screen. Is true. It's just been true for a long time, so it's not new. But you know, with all of that, you can do a whole lot with flows now. You can really create complex customer user interactions, and having multiple columns makes it just that more powerful. And by the way, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to kind of unmute yourself and add or ask or whatever. But this is definitely, you know, more than just a question, the opportunity for you to ask any clarifications or add anything if you have something to add. Okay, Cole is actually saying before you click next, before you press, Cole is saying he's considering moving some triggers to flows to reduce some code. And Aldo says, my 2 cents on declarative, if performance is an issue, go with code. I was just about to say the same, Aldo. So yes, code will always be more performant than declarative solution. And we can spend a lot of time talking about why, but in general, that's just the true statement. Flow has gotten really good compared to what it was in the past and compared to process builders, but code is always going to be better. So performance is definitely something that, Cole, you have to keep in mind when you think about, do I want to change code to flow rather than the other way around? But thank you, Aldo.
So are they going to support what .type anytime soon in flows? Does anybody know? Andrew LaRusso is asking.
I don't know. I have not seen that specifically called out on any future map, but product map. I'm sorry, but I don't know the answer to that. That's a good question.
Is there a good trail? Is there a good trailhead trailblazer group that a question like this would be good in?
Probably.
I stay in the code. I stay in the code channel, so I don't really hang out very much.
Yeah, the only thing I would think is that you can probably use Apex, like invocable Apex, to get that in a flow if you need it, but I never tried.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, sorry, I don't have the answer for you, Andrew. That's
a good question. All right, let's rock and roll to the next question.
Next, Cole B. Heisheimer, 11 spaces. Great job. Eric S. knocking out Weston for first place.
Awesome. All
right. Next question. What is new with record sharing in spring 21? No sharing for you. Come back in 2 weeks. You can shut sharing to public create. Record sharing has been end of life. It is no more. Or you can now manually share a record in Lightning. Record sharing.
Really?
A lot of these are like either everyone can make it, no one can make it. All right, the answer. You can now manually share a record in Lightning. Thank goodness.
The red one was supposed to be a joke as a reference to Seinfeld, so but I don't know if anybody got that. One of the
for you.
Joke. All right, got it. There we go.
Something was lost in the accent.
Yeah, I guess my accents are definitely not accent worthy. One of the things that was blatantly missing from Lightning since day one when Lightning went live is manual sharing. And people have created custom components to do this. People have come up with workarounds. I'm not really sure why it took them 4 years to get there, but it's here. So you can now add manual sharing to Lightning pages.
All right.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. All right. Ohad, highest answer streak of 3.
Oh,
You're on
man.
fire right now.
I'm trying to
But
take my
Eric is
time so I
holding
don't
on
steal the. Ignore me.
All right. Next question. Something is new with opportunity products. Could it be that opportunity products can now be added from a bundle? You can finally have a record with the lookup to opportunity product. You can finally delete opportunity products even after they ship, or this is a trick question. The answer is avocado.
I like that it turned out to be the green one.
I find that if I just click on a different color each question, it's just
That's an approach, yes.
excellent.
Somebody actually voted for
All right.
avocado. I would like to know who voted for avocado.
I voted for avocado.
I voted for avocado.
As a millennial, I voted for avocado.
Okay, so it's just leaders. Then I don't care about you guys. I was going to offer somebody a piece of swag just for that vote. But yeah, so again, something that has been missing for a very, very long time. One of the great things about Salesforce, and I'm saying great with significant air quotes here, is that what we know is that standard objects are actually anything but standard, right? It's really the custom objects that all behave in the same way. Standard objects all have their own quirks and things that you can or cannot do with. And one of the things you could not do is have a lookup to opportunity product. And that means that every time you wanted to create, a child of opportunity product, many managed packages use it to create like orders or quotes or stuff like that. You can never have a lookup to the opportunity line item, to the opportunity product that created it. You had to store it as a text ID, and then do some funky stuff to be able to let users navigate or see related stuff. But now it's finally being advanced to the point where you can look up to opportunity products. So it's actually sounds insignificant, but it's pretty big. To those who care, I would say.
I'm a coder. Avocado made more sense to me. Sorry.
All right.
If the newbies, you have to understand that, there's always this, tension between Lacey and I, because she's all admin, she's all declarative, and I'm all custom code out there. And Ohad just sort of gets right in the middle of it all from between us. So you just have to understand how the
our fights.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And Ward, of course, he's brand new, so we'll just cut him some slack, but yeah,
for now.
Whatever. But for now.
He's on the time.
Awesome.
All right. Eric S. holding on strong. All right. How
Question
can you
5.
access the release notes? Same place as always, although where is that? The new release notes home. Trailhead, cannot emphasize that enough, or that's where you come here. We just read them out to you.
No lie, in the conversation thread, that's exactly what Cole Bradley was saying. He's not up to speed on the
release notes today.
He hasn't seen the release notes.
I'll see them. I looked at the
All right.
that I posted earlier.
That's awesome.
So there is a new release notes home. The website where release notes were in the past is no more, or I think it's actually still available, but will be no more soon.
July.
Yeah, thank you. And the new release notes home is supposed to be a little bit more user-friendly, a little bit easier to find stuff. I've also heard that it's a little bit slower, but growing pains. Doesn't really change much beyond just where you go to look for your release notes, which obviously you all spend an exorbitant amount of time reading through the 500 plus pages every release.
It's slightly different format. I mean, I noticed a change. So.
And Cole, by the way, just posted a link in the chat, which is actually a really good place. The SFXD, it's the Discord. No, sorry. Yes, it's the wiki for the Discord channel, right? I think. But in any case, great place to get the abridged. Somebody actually goes. Of course, there's always a lot of blog articles, Jen Lee and Automation Champion Rakesh, and a few more that are always really great resources to read about what's coming in new releases. But if you're looking for the official word,
yeah, I mean, usually the fifth option to this, the fifth answer to this question is Google it.
Yep.
Salesforce, Salesforce Spring 21 release notes, and I get every time. It's usually what I do.
That's the most consultant answer that you could possibly give. All right.
Awesome.
All right, Eric, holding on strong, but Heath is coming for you, Eric. Don't get too cocky.
No.
All right, with Spring 21, what can you finally do with Lightning email templates? Can you create them from the classic interface? Can you send them from a record page using the feed component? Can you use them in email alerts in automation, or can you add dynamic content? Create them, send them, use them, add them. You can use them in email alerts in automation.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So Lightning email templates. You may or may not be familiar with them. About 4 or 5 releases ago, in the setup menu, email templates were renamed to classic email templates, and then actually Lightning email templates showed up. Lightning email templates have a Lightning builder, which is a lot more like the Lightning app builder with drag and drop stuff. You can add components, you can add cool stuff to it. They're really neat. They have been introduced very, very gradually, meaning at first you couldn't do much with them. Then you could do a little bit more, then you could send them from records, but really with automation, it was difficult. You had to either use code or some custom components that allow you to do that. Finally, now with this release, you can actually reference a Lightning email template from an email alert, which means you can send it from a flow, from a workflow, from a process builder, or from code through an email alert. So they're really going to 100% replace any new email template that you're going to create. Just a lot more easy to build compelling emails using that mechanism. So that's that.
I came upon this by accident. I implemented it in our sandbox for an upgrade that we're doing for our client. And we tested it out. Everything was fine.
And then you couldn't deploy it to production?
And then we couldn't deploy to production. And actually, we found out by going to a P org and was able to test it there. Found out that it wasn't being deployed until this release. So we actually deployed on Friday. Spring 21 came out Saturday. So we have a release going in on this Friday to change it. So
that's actually a really good point, right? That's something that as an admin or a developer, you always have to be very cognizant, right? When you work in a sandbox that has a release preview in it, you are inadvertently touching things that are new and are not potentially not yet in your production org, right? That could be flow features, could be email templates, could be anything really that's new. And even further, you could be creating a flow that doesn't use anything new, but the flow, when you create it, references the new API version, and then you'll try to deploy and you'll get, that API is not yet, it doesn't exist yet in your production. So that is typically pretty easy. You can change the API version and then deploy it. But you just always have to be very cognizant when working on developing new stuff in previous sandboxes, so preview orgs in general. Thank you, Guy.
You bet.
All right, Eric S. holding on strong, but we now have 3 players. Answer streak 3 coming for you. Not developer rising to the top. I see you. Cool, on the board. All right, what is the awesome new name for Community Cloud? Lightning Customer Cloud, Einstein Customer Cloud, Togetherness Cloud, Experience Cloud.
Together.
Togetherness. I mean, that's what community is. Community, we're all in it together.
I wanted to throw in there something that was like more together, more better now with clouds or something like that, but
Experience Cloud.
so I did fool a couple of people. That's nice to know. So that is one of the odd names. I will tell you that in at least in the circles that I hang out with, people have been very dumbfounded by the decision to call communities Experience Cloud. It just feels a little what?
Experiential, maybe.
But yeah, that's just a branding thing. It just means it's going to take you a few moments every time you need to find it in the setup menu. Oh, actually, no, it's experience. Okay. But other than that, nothing really changes.
Yeah, that
We felt
really
the same
threw
way
me
when they
off
came out with.
moved it and set up. I was so confused. I was like, where did the communities go?
There's no more communities.
Still
It's
take you there.
experiences now.
Community will still take you there.
Yes. They actually have it in parentheses, right? Just for
Ah.
that purpose, I think, in the name.
Actually, now is it sites?
Funny thing is that
Well, it's all
still a
sites as
name.
opposed to all
now.
communities.
Sites is different than communities, yeah.
What up, Aldo?
No, I was just going to say exactly the same thing.
Ah.
Site is still alive. I mean, it's not dead. It's like a zombie walking in your org, but we are going to end up with communities or Experience Cloud now.
Thank you. Awesome.
All right. Punk is the highest climber up 6 places, but Eric
Wow.
S. still holding on strong.
Punk, is that you, Punker?
It's not me.
Oh, he's
Harry.
talking.
Is that Harry?
I don't know who Punk is, but he's definitely a punk.
All
Alrighty.
right. Next question. Admins with international teams will love new Lightning App Builder's ability to access custom labels, translate a custom field, translate Lightning page names, or let users provide their own translation from record pages. What can Lightning App Builder do for your admin? Five seconds. 4, 3, 2. Oh, wow. This was a tough one. Wow.
A lot of trick options here. So custom labels is one of those tricks that you can use to use the translation bench very easily. Allows you, instead of just typing a hard code text like on a label or an output text or whatever, you reference a custom label and then you can translate that label. Until now, custom labels were not available in the Lightning App Builder, and they are now. So that's something that we've been using for years in Apex, when we use either Apex or Visual Force pages or Lightning Web Components or anything. And now you can use that in Lightning Web Pages as well.
I did not even know that. I didn't realize that wasn't possible yet.
Now you know.
Oh my God.
Okay. Now John's glad he came today.
And you know what? Tomorrow there will be something that you'll need to use that for.
Well, exactly, and I'm kind of dumbfounded that wasn't available until now. But that's really what I'm thinking. But okay, all right, cool.
You can use So you can actually now use the custom label to like name a tab or an accordion or a field that has an output text or stuff like that, right? So those are the areas of sections, stuff like that. Those are areas that you can now use the translation workbench to now translate the tab names to all of your different international locations.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
All right.
Oh,
Colby.
Yeah.
Coming for Eric, highest answer streak. Wow.
Not developer is doing well, and Heath also.
Custom metadata is getting some love in Apex. We can finally create custom metadata entities in Apex, create custom metadata records in Apex, access custom metadata without a SOQL query, or cache custom metadata in Apex static variables. Hey, John, if I can tell you what any of this means, will you give me $1?
There you go.
I still don't have $1.
I got
This is
SQL
where this
query.
is around the time where I think the balance is going to start shifting a little bit.
Oh, okay, good. What did you do?
Yeah.
All right, you can access custom metadata without a SQL query.
So
One
up
of the-
till now, you go for it. Yeah.
No, you want to talk about it, John? Feel
Well,
free.
I mean, up until now, we've had custom metadata for a couple of years now, and just if you're familiar with custom settings, they had those little convenience methods. You could do the custom setting.getAll, and that would return all of the custom setting records in a list view, and then you could get it. You can get custom setting.getInts, and so these were kind of convenience methods that allowed you to just grab the whole lot of records. And they haven't had them in the custom metadata type of records until now. And so what you would have to do is just do a standard SQL query to select the custom metadata records. But now they have these convenience methods that are available. And
It's more than just convenience, though, right? I mean, because what it really means is you're not consuming a SQL query in your governor limits, which, hopefully you're never reaching your limits, but this could absolutely be reducing your consumption of governor limits.
I beg to differ with you, sir. It has been from the beginning, SQL statements against custom metadata records never counted against your SQL limit. It was always SQL statements against custom settings that burned your SQL limit.
Okay.
That actually didn't happen. So they at least set you up right from here. But this just makes it much easier to manage, and you don't have to worry about crafting the SQL query and stuff like that. You just do the custom metadata type and just get mal method and run with it. So.
Awesome.
Trust me, I know this particular thing.
I believe
doesn't
you.
burn.
I'm not going to contradict you, I promise.
Yes.
I thought I was adding something, but I was adding something wrong.
You were. You can, and so Aldo, I love you, brother. I really do, man. Nothing but love for you, man. Aldo is commenting about the fact you can actually add custom metadata records via the API, the metadata API is what he's referring to. So it's a little bit of a trick, and you gotta have some custom code. It is possible to add some custom metadata data records on the fly via code, and so that hopefully they're gonna realize the first one, the red option here. Hopefully they will realize that in the next couple of releases. That's been one of the biggest asks in the code community for a while. So.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll get that soon. So.
And I will say, as an admin, I love custom metadata. Custom metadata is incredibly useful. So.
It is an awesome capability. Should be used by all admins all the time.
I'm gonna get you to code, Lacey. It's gonna happen.
All right, maybe. Up 5 plays. Oh, Weston's coming back. Up high.
Oh my goodness.
But, Keith has knocked Eric S off of that throne.
Right. Awesome.
Here we go.
All right. What happened to Salesforce Evergreen, which was announced at Dreamforce 2019, aka the last Dreamforce? All right. Seems like it has become Salesforce Nevergreen. It has now reached public pilot stage. It has been renamed Einstein Functions for the Lightning Platform, or it is in private beta stage. Beta?
Yes.
Beta is fine. We'll take
all of the above.
Stage.
All of the above.
All right, we have 2, 1. It is in private beta stage.
So it did not die. It did take them a little bit of time. And John, I'm sure, can talk a lot more about that, but it took them a little bit longer than typical to get it from the announcement stage to a point where some people can at least start playing with it. Mm-hmm. But it's now officially in private beta. That means you needed to ask to your AE to get on that beta. I think it's probably too late for that anyway. But that just means it hasn't been abandoned. It hasn't been forgotten. It is actually moving down the line, and we should probably expect to start seeing more wide access to it in the next release or two.
Yeah. I mean, as Aldo was saying, it's been rebranded to the word Salesforce Function, so that's where you're going to start hearing it.
I'm pretty sure you just gave up one of the questions you wrote down the line.
I did, but that's okay. Look, whenever we have an international MVP like Aldo amongst us, dude, go right ahead. That's fine. And so, but I mean, if you're not familiar with Salesforce functions, it is going to be a very interesting game changer to the platform as a whole. One of the biggest struggles with the platform has been its inability to deal with very large, complicated processing logics, things maybe get into financial analytics or something like that, or just lots of computational processing. And so whatever that use case may be, it's been a very big struggle to try to make that happen on the Salesforce platform. So the Evergreen or Salesforce functions, what this is really going to become is you'll have, your developers will have the ability to write the processing logic in a language that's more adept to that that computational thing, be it Java or Node.js or some of the languages, and you'll be able to load that up as a component of the application in your Salesforce org. And so you'll be able to access, you'll be able to say, either access it from, say, Apex or from Process Builder, flows and things like that. And you'll be able to say, here, I want to dump all this data into here. I want you to go and process all of this logic and then come back to me later. And it's just, it's very intriguing stuff, very exciting stuff. Again, it's, I fully believe that Lacey's going to be coding in that, sure enough, before long.
What I love is that whenever they demo how powerful it is, they use the most boring example of generating an image or getting an e-signature.
Absolutely.
And it's so much more capable than that, but yeah.
But I mean, to your point, it's actually one of those technologies that has so many possibilities. It's hard to articulate a good demo because there's so many different demos.
Find one really cool thing, not generate a stupid, image.
Stupid PDF. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, if you've ever had to deal with assembling multiple documents and wanting to say, I want to send all of them in a zip file, this is going to be the technology that's going to make this happen for you very easily and stuff like that. And that's just the very small smidge of what's going to happen here. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. But yes, it went into private beta stage, and I don't know if they're going to make it out into public beta in summer, but
I heard rumors that it will be 2 releases.
Yeah, that's probably more like it. Yeah. Because cool. Anyway,
cool,
next question.
Cool. All right.
Eric S is reclaimed. Oh, I see a rivalry brewing here.
All right, next question. When processing platform event messages, what is the default message trigger size? Is it 2, 200, 2000, or is that user configured? 2, 200.
This is a developer question. I'll own it.
Yeah.
This is a developer.
I know what platform events are.
I know what
platform events are.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so this is somewhat of a trick question. So I mean, first of all, this is platform event messaging, and so what happens is when platform event messages are processed, this is after they've sent them across, they come in batch sizes. Now, I'll guarantee you, most of the folks that answered the blue with 200 are coders in the room, and they were thinking about the default batch size of a trigger, which is the way that platform events are processed. But default events or batch size for triggers of S objects is 200 records. So you'll deal with the records in 200 trunks. But platform event messages by default are dealt with in 2000. Now, full marks to the 3 guys who chose user config, because that's actually the thing that's coming out in spring 21. You're now able to define the batch size.
This is somehow marked as a wrong answer. That's a mistake.
Because the word default is throwing you off.
Oh.
Yes. So I'm just being mean and ornery, and that's just the bottom line to it. But still.
Well, nothing new.
5 people got it right. Yeah, 5 people got it right. But I mean, it's interesting because Ohad and I had a use case about 2 years ago where we were dealing with some platform event messages, and we wanted to process the message one at a time for the use case. And we had to invent some crazy logic to actually make that all work and requeue it. And it was problematic as all get out. But
even since then, it's been made more easy, but you still had to do it in code. And now you can control it on the platform event itself, right?
Yes, the configuration of the platform event allows you to say, I want to process only this many records right now. The default will be 2,000, but that doesn't work for all scenarios. So it's very interesting. It opens up a lot of what am I saying? Asynchronous processing options. And again, it just makes it much more fun.
How do you define that? I didn't actually see where that is. Do you know by any chance?
The release notes showed the configuration looks like from a source code level. So when you've extracted the platform event definition, I think it's going to be in the UI. I haven't actually looked at the UI.
I don't see it on the UI yet, but that would be very interesting.
Yeah,
because you can actually do that today in code in Apex by just using the resume from feature. I forget the exact Apex command syntax, but you can basically process the first message and then tell it resume from the next one, or resume from the first one, and it will break the context. And so what it allows you to do, it allows you to take a set of the 2,000 events or up to 2,000 events that came in the trigger, and say I want to process them one at a time. Yeah. And many times the reason for that is governor limits or other crazy stuff that you need to do. However, I had scenarios where I was able to fully do what I needed to do declaratively, but because I could not control the size of the batch, I had to go to Apex, right? Yeah. And so this actually now allows us to do that through declarative configuration on the platform event, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, platform events in general, if you haven't looked at them, they are amazing. We have been able to. In one case, we invented a system that was processing 10,000 records, something like that, in just only about 10 to 15 minutes, somewhere in that range, if I remember correctly.
Well, that doesn't sound like much. Nobody.
No. But I'm sorry. Yeah, that's true. It was something like 10,000 API calls into the platform. And what would normally take, 10 to 15 seconds per thread or something like that per record, OHOD is what
we were able to do some crazy stuff, multi-threading on the platform, which is really unheard of, or was unheard of before that.
It was unheard of before that, but still. All right, let's move on. All right, I think that's the
platform events are super powerful to admins as well. I'll just say that. I won't expand much more on that now. Big fan of platform events here, so always happy to talk about it.
Yeah, but get to know your
Eric S holding on strong. John D coming up.
Okay, who's gonna break Eric? Come on, I want to see some twists and turns here. Nothing against you, Eric.
All right, Salesforce functions would be under which Apex namespace? Evergreen, Functions, Hybrid, or System? Which
that
namespace?
Smells like a trick question. But is it?
Why would you think I would set up a trick question?
Because your name is John Daniel. John Daniel.
4, 3, 2.
Yeah.
Functions.
So if you haven't seen it yet, again, we've been talking about Salesforce functions, the evergreen stuff, and they're going to set up all of those commands that you access the functions from Apex. You're going to see them under the function namespace. So if you go to the Apex developer guide, just look for the function namespace and it's all got it right there. So anyway, just a heads up. Look out for it.
All right. Punk, Industry 3. Eric, holding on strong.
My favorite.
We'll be not developer and John D coming for you though.
Good. I have high expectations for Cole Bradley.
What does select fields custom from contact actually do? Does it select all fields on the contact object, select all of the standard fields on the contact object, select all of the custom fields on the contact object, or select all of the fields specified in the custom field set? Which one does it do? All right. 5 seconds left. 4,
5 seconds.
3, 2, 1. It selects all of the custom fields on the contact object.
So this is probably one of the most exciting things I've seen on the coding side in the Spring 21 release. They have, so obviously, well, maybe not. When you have the SQL language, for the longest time, you've had to specify which fields you want to select. And if you're like me, you come from a Java background and Oracle and stuff like that, and any other language other than Salesforce, you've always had the querying language could do select star, which means every field from whatever table you're dealing with. And we never had that in Salesforce until now. Now, this fields function is the real key to this question. And so you can specify a SQL statement, and you can specify select fields, and then parentheses, there are 3 keywords. There's custom, which you see here, there's all, and there's standard. And as you would see and expect, what it do is either select all the fields, so the ID, name, and the buy ID, et cetera. You don't have to specify it. And because not every S object has the same standard fields. And then you could do all the custom fields on an S object. And with all, you can select all, and you don't have to really worry about it. It'll automatically figure out all of these things for you. Now, this is amazing convenience. It's amazing upgrade for us, especially the coders. Be careful, because you're still, you've got to be very judicious about when you, especially the select all or the fields custom. Because the last thing you want to do is collect an object that has 800 fields and 200 of those are long text areas, because you will blow the size out of Apex right out the window. But for a small table, this is kind of cool little convenience function. And it's very interesting. So, but again, it's just, we've been waiting for this forever.
I'm looking at the release notes and I'm not seeing something, but I remember reading this somewhere. So I may be wrong. Maybe you know the answer, or somebody here. I read that the intention for this is to kind of replace the describe function, and that there's a limit on how many records can be returned by the select field. So I think it's only up to 200 records can be returned by these methods. Am I right?
And I don't know. I need to look into that, but it does make sense that it would be the concept that it would be used to replace the describe fields. Because again, we've never had this select all of the fields functionality in Apex before, but we've had it in all the other languages. And so people have used very interesting workarounds to, including the describe S object, as I think it was Weston was pointing out to everybody. The describe S object was one of the strategies to grab that information and sort of dynamically assemble it. If you're using the fflib Apex Common framework, the S object selector basis, that is partly using the describe S object result to grab all of the different fields that are available. And so these are the dynamic ways of doing it. But this fields custom is an alternative now, and it's a much more straightforward alternative.
Yeah, I think the biggest concern is, just to reiterate what John said, is that when you work with Apex, a lot of times you don't think about, not like other languages where you have to be a lot more concerned about system resources, memory, stuff like that. A lot of Apex developers who are grown up in Apex and don't have a lot of previous experience never think about things like memory allocation and stuff like that. When you get a whole lot of fields on an object, you're consuming a lot of memory, and you might exceed your heap size very quickly. So those are, again, you have to be careful when you use it. Don't just blindly say, oh, let me just get all the fields. That way I don't need to worry about it, because that might come and bite you in the ass later.
So
if you need 2 fields, don't get all of them.
All right, let's move on to the next one. I want to be conscious of the time.
All right. Whoa. Eric just dropped down.
Oh my goodness.
Just
Eric might have
over.
fallen asleep or something.
Nope. All right, Anupama. Hi, timer. Great job.
She's coming up.
All right, next question. Where do you access the Communities tab now in the Spring 21 setup menu? Platform tools, digital experience, all sites. Platform tools, feature settings, digital experiences, all sites. Platform tools, feature settings, communities, all sites. Platform tools, feature setting, communities, and then the community name. Communities.
So we've already talked about this tonight.
So yeah, that should kind of narrow it down.
Yeah, I had to give the answer to my dev team this morning because we all went to Spring 21. If you haven't noticed that, again, the word where you used to find the word communities, it is now called digital experiences. And so just look for that in the menu and you'll find the communities again. So, but just FYI.
Mm-hmm.
And awesome.
All right.
Oh my goodness,
Keith
John
holding
D.
on strong.
Oh,
John
no,
Punk. Ed H. Highest climber. Great job, Ed.
yeah.
All right, next question. What new packaging type became GA in spring 21? Finally, unlocked packages, managed packages, locked packages, or org-dependent packages?
And John, I'm gonna time box you here on how much time we can talk about it.
Yes. I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with DX.
It's a great hint.
So if you
5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1.
John can spend the rest of the evening talking about it. That's why I had to time box him.
Yeah, org-dependent packages is the latest flavor of the DX second generation packages, and it basically sets up a package so that you can deliver a package without necessarily having all the dependencies. We'll spend an entire seminar on that in the developer user group. But yeah, it's for consultants. You need to be aware of it. Sometimes it's the right option, but it's a dangerous option. So again, I'll get off that soapbox very quickly.
It's a very interesting option.
It is an interesting option. It's a slippery slope option. I'll say that much. All right, move on before I get into this one.
John was so mad he fell off, but Punk is up top. My gosh, and Ed H.
Hello.
4 car questions in a row. Look out for Ed H. All right, next question. How can you specify unpackaged metadata for package version creation tests? I'm not going to read that. I'm going to repeat the quote.
So do you specify it in the project JSON file where you list the location of package directory section? Do you specify it in the project JSON file listed in the unpackaged metadata tag of the package directory? Do you include it in the folder of optional flag with the package version create command? Or finally, in the scratch.org definition file, do you list it as the unpackaged metadata? So the coders got it, and it looks like half the people didn't even answer. So that's awesome. All right, so first of all, this is a DX one. Great. Okay, good. What this allows us to do is we're allowed to create a package. And the problem was we weren't always able to include extra pieces that we wanted to add, or extra code that we wanted to add just for test purposes. And so it created this weird scenario where I would have to add all of these extra tables and Apex classes and everything else under the sun, and I would have to add it to my package only to test and increase the code coverage. And so what this little feature allows you to do is actually says, I'm going to create my package just like I normally, but I'm going to run some extra tests, and those tests are going to be in a separate source directory. And so again, you can read it in the release notes or in the Salesforce DX developer guide. But it's just it alleviated so many problems, especially for the ISVs out there in the world. So anyway, next question.
All right, Punk holding on strong. Eric trying to take back the throne. Danica, highest interest 3.
Nice.
All right. How can you enable an Apex invocable class to perform API calls? Have the class implement the system.callouts interface, have the class implement the systems.api permissible interface, add callouts equals true to the invocable method annotation parameter, or add API equals true to the invocable method annotation parameter.
You know, John, I have some words with you about this kind of questions.
I know. Like you said, there was only so much that we had available in this part. So basically, if you know of anything about invocable methods in Apex classes, and it's how you tie an Apex class into a flow. And so, but what we've been sort of limiting it before is the ability to make a web service call out or an API call out from the thing. And now we're able to do that. And the way you do that is just when you define the definition, or the annotation is what it's called in the Apex class. You just need to add that extra thing called callouts equals true. And then your Apex class will be able to make a call out. So anyway, next question, please.
All right. Punk's still holding on. Eric S is making a comeback. Look out, Punk. All right.
Look out, Punk.
What information can be retrieved from change data capture events? Fields that have changed on the record, fields that have not changed on the record, fields specified as enriched fields on the record, or just standard fields on the record. Change data capture. I feel like I know what that is.
You know what it is. You have.
I do?
Yes.
I have? Okay, good.
Yes. Okay, there's two options here. So change data capture is the sister function to platform events. And basically what it is if there's a change to a record on the whatever record that you set it up for, then it will send out a platform event essentially with the information about what has changed. And so what you're able to do is the real change for Spring 21 is what is in the, what do we call this, yellow, orange, whatever this is. And that is, you can now add extra fields, because what has been the case prior to now is only the fields that changed on the record were emitted in the event. But there's probably some extra information that would be helpful when you're processing those changes, maybe the ID or something like that, or external ID and things like that. And so now we're able to specify in the change data capture configuration that we want to enrich the message to include these fields always. And so that's what this whole enriched fields is about, and it makes it much easier to process now. Before you had to go and just, you were only given the record ID, and that's not always the best way to process the event. So, but yeah. Cool.
All right. Punk
Oh my
holding on
goodness.
strong.
Oh my goodness.
Keep coming for it.
Yeah. Four players just hit a four answer streak. So awesome job, everybody.
All right, next question. Which environments can track changes between local projects with VS Code? Developer editions, productions, sandboxes, or DX Scratch orgs?
I can make a prediction about which one's going to get the most votes. I'm guessing it's going to be Mr. Green.
Come on now, though. Have you really read the release notes? What's the release notes all about?
What do they say? What does it say?
So the right answer is DX Scratch orgs, most certain, but that's not necessarily the new thing that's in the Spring 21. So if you're familiar with tracking changes, or source tracking as the feature is called, what it allows you to do is we've been able to in Scratch orgs to make changes in Scratch orgs, make changes, and then just say, update my local source code, update my local project. And every change that I made will be brought down to the source control. And so it tracks the changes between the Scratch org and my local source code project. Now with Spring 21, you're able to, for those developers who aren't able to take advantage of Scratch orgs and are working in sandboxes, now you get to do it. Because if you've been working in sandboxes for any length of time, you have to remember exactly what it is that you've changed. And you have to specify that in the package XML or something like that to bring it out into VS Code and work with it. Now you have this new feature to track changes in sandboxes as well. It's a beta feature. Use it with caution. It should work. It's going to break a little bit, whatever, but it's still a step in the right direction. And it gives the same power to sandbox developers that have been available for now a couple of years in the Scratch org developers. So it's an interesting development.
Is that configured in DX or on the org itself?
You know, that's a very good question. I'm not sure. I would think it's DX and really it's VS Code and the Salesforce CLI. I think that's where it's configured. I'm not aware of a change or a switch that you have to throw in the sandbox to make it work, but we can look it up, maybe. Yeah, so
yeah, it
does
look like it's a CLI. Yeah.
So I would be surprised to hear that it's a switch that you have to throw. So in the sandbox, but still. So yeah, if you're doing sandbox development with VS Code, especially if you're a coder, this is going to be a big help. Actually, you don't have to worry about managing which pieces of the metadata you track or is changing. So, all right, next question.
All right, Guy, back in the game. Punk is holding on strong though. All right, next question. In Spring 21, Salesforce forecasts are now supported on mobile, allow you to adjust your team's forecasts on the go, are read-only except by administrator, or allow you to adjust your forecasts on the go. Salesforce forecasts. Mobile, team forecasts, read-only, your forecast.
Again, this is where I find that, you know, touching each of the colors is really where my thing. We're back in this. We're back in that question block now.
So they allow you to adjust your forecast on the go. So here's what else is true. So Salesforce forecasts are available on mobile, but up until this release, they were read-only. So they are technically supported on mobile, but the new thing with Spring 21 is that you can adjust your forecast on the go. You are not able to adjust your team's forecasts. You're only able to do that on desktop and of course all forecasts. You can edit them. So yeah, so new Spring 21 feature, they allow you to adjust your forecast on the go. Cool. All right, Eric S has taken the crown back. Uh-oh.
Oh,
all right, next question. How often does Interaction Studio for Marketing Cloud update customer data? Is it in real time? Is it daily? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Interaction Studio. Updating
That's for everybody
data.
who has worked with Marketing Cloud very extensively.
I'm looking at that image and I'm like, I'd like to see that in real life. That'd be very cool.
I'll show you next time we meet.
All right. New Spring 21 Interaction Studio for Marketing Cloud updates customer data in real time. So you will create a journey and you'll work with your Interaction Studio while your customer is on your website interacting with your items. They are able to go along inside of the Interaction Studio.
Interesting. That's kind of scary.
It's very scary.
All right. Eric Pumpkin, he's holding on.
Oh my goodness,
Guy is
look
coming
at that
for you.
lead.
Yeah. All right, next question. How can you test changes in Datarama? Do you use special namespaces? Can you include the word test in all field values? Do you use Sandbox for Datarama, or is it just recommended that you just test on nights and weekends when people aren't using
That's how you test everything. As they say, I don't always test my code, but when I do, I test it in production.
I was going to say, where's the fifth option? Test in production.
Yeah.
That's the green one.
All right. So new for Spring 21 Sandbox for Datarama. Test all your changes in your own sandbox. See what happens when you press that button, and then you can test your code in production.
Shout out to Datarama, Israeli company that was acquired by Salesforce 2 years ago. There you go. There you go.
All right.
You all learned something new finally tonight.
There you go.
Deepak, highest answer streak of 8 on the board. But Eric and Heath are coming up.
He's coming.
All right. Who provides the out-of-the-box payment solution in Commerce Cloud Payments? Square.
That'd be Salesforce,
Stripe,
right? No, wait, no.
Venmo, Google Wallet. Who provides the out-of-the-box payment solution?
I'll give you a hint. It's one of these 4. Or maybe more than one.
Okay. Interesting.
No, it is one.
Stripe. It's only Stripe. I tried to pick ones that everybody knew. All right. I'm here, highest climber. Eric is holding on strong though. Not going to let that go.
Awesome, awesome.
All right. What two products can you integrate omnichannel inventory with? B2C commerce, B2B commerce, fulfillment management, or org management?
And if you don't know what omnichannel
I'll give
is,
you a hint. Two. Integrate two. So that means you have 50-50 shot of getting this one right. Awesome. It is B2C commerce and order management. I made up fulfillment management. All right. Heath, making a comeback, coming for Eric.
almost exactly 1,000
All
points
right.
behind.
Experience Cloud, we've seen that a lot tonight. Build your own template supports which web components? Einstein, Aura, Lightning web components? I'll give you guys a hint. This is not specific. This includes a feature specific new to Spring 21. This also includes ones that are previously supported in earlier releases. So. Multiple. Awesome. Everyone got this one right. So previously to Spring 21, Experience Cloud, AKA Community Cloud, AKA Sites, AKA Portals, the build your own templates are the new features. They had previously supported the Aura and the Lightning type components. New to Spring 21, Lightning web components is now supported, which is amazing.
Cool, cool, cool.
All right. Deepak, 11 correct answers in a row on the board in third place. Go Deepak.
Eric is really
Eric
getting
is
a
not-
lead there. He's clicking quick. A fast clicker.
All right, dynamic actions are super amazing. Also, are they generally available for custom objects? Are they generally available for account, case, contact, and lead for desktop? Are they beta for mobile, or are they beta for all standard objects? This one I think is specific to Spring 21. I could be wrong. Dynamic actions.
I love dynamic actions.
Cool. All right. So with Spring 21, they are now generally available for all custom objects, of course. And then they are generally available for account, case, contact, lead for desktop. The other standard objects, they're working on. So. Yeah. So. Ohad, do you want a super quick, brief summary of what dynamic actions are?
Sure. So in the past, in the classic world, you had your wonderful buttons that you could add at the top of the page that were part of your global actions. And then in Lightning, that kind of adopted that. You had your global actions. You could override it. It's one of those things that Lightning just took from the page layout that you had assigned to the user. So multiple users could have different buttons showing up based on their page layout assignment. With dynamic action, they have now decoupled the actions from the page layout altogether, just like they've done with fields with dynamic forms. And you can actually now have conditional visibility based on, value on the record. So if the stage of the opportunity is closed won, only then I want to show the button to say create a quote or create an order. So you can make them conditionally visible, and they no longer are tied to page layouts at all. So it's a cool little feature.
This is really handy. I have had so many instances where people have wanted the submit for approval button to only appear during certain moments. Yep. This is what makes that happen.
Absolutely. I think the conditional visibility for the buttons is a tremendous thing. That's something that's kind of been asked for, I think, for the last 10 years or so. So, it's here.
Finally.
For almost everything.
All right. Deepak, keep coming for it. Eric and Heath are not going to let go, though. Deepak, come on. All right. Which is the new MuleSoft accelerator? Is it financial services, utilities, healthcare, or SAP? Which of these is the MuleSoft accelerator?
I actually have no clue.
Good thing you're here.
Thank goodness.
Learning something new. All right, 3, 2, 1. Healthcare and SAP. So MuleSoft is the integrative tool for pushing your data around, and MuleSoft has come out with 2 new accelerators, one for their healthcare industry product and one for their SAP. Yeah. Ooh, Ed H, back, answer streak of 3.
Wow, only Eric
Keith and
gained
Deepak.
points here, looks like,
Uh-oh.
in the top 5 at least.
All right, interaction summaries are available on which industry cloud? Financial services, health cloud, manufacturing cloud, or consumer goods? Industry clouds, a little bit more out-of-the-box functions for certain industries. Interaction summaries are good for what?
Does anybody know how many actual industry clouds we have? I mean, how many clouds?
975.
Yeah, really.
I think there's like 8 now.
I think there was like 8. Yeah.
All right, financial services, one of the first industry clouds, actually. Interaction summaries basically allow you to, every time that you have a call or you email somebody, you can have an interaction summary of all the times that you've actually interacted with that person, which, having come from Capital One, is a very cool feature. Every time you meet somebody, you want to.
For all of us who have come from Capital One, we should appreciate
know.
it. Yeah.
Should know this. Yeah.
All right. Oh no, that was tough. 5 players lost their answer streak of 3. But Eric got still holding on. All right. FHIR R4 data model is available on which industry cloud? Financial services, healthcare, manufacturing, or consumer goods?
And you talked about my questions. Wait. Oh,
Yeah.
have you talked about my questions? Come on now.
This is when we get to the part where everybody just guesses the favorite color.
Again, favorite color is where we're going with this one. Oh my goodness.
FHIR R4 data
Somebody
model.
has the opportunity to steal the lead
Yes, I
from
got it
Eric.
right. Woo!
Health cloud.
But you are along with 10 other people, by the way. So
I know.
let's see if Eric gained any points here. He did not. Woo, things are shaking up.
WMBG Williamsburg has a streak, 5 correct answers in a row. Good job, Williamsburg.
Awesome, awesome.
Sales agreements are available on which industry cloud? Financial services, health cloud, manufacturing cloud, or consumer goods? Sales agreements. Handshake.
And Eric, it's not that I'm against you. I'm just, I like to see a good competition. I like to see things churning around and people working hard.
Missing live sports.
Exactly.
Manufacturing cloud.
Whoop, whoop. Manufacturing.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, to be honest, I would be kind of concerned about
Perfect.
sales agreements on a health cloud. There's something wrong with that concept there. But anyway.
That's for when you want to sell a kidney.
Yeah, really. I was just thinking about the comment. I was like, no, that's not going to be it. No.
Einstein Analytics is now available on which industry cloud? Financial services, health cloud, manufacturing cloud, or consumer goods?
I think Kerry said blue is generally a good color for him. So that's good to know what he's going to vote for when he doesn't know the answer. And Aldo has pizza arriving for everybody.
Awesome.
Aldo, how did you get everybody's addresses? That's amazing.
I have superpowers.
Aldo has
Consumer goods. Einstein Analytics is now available on the Consumer Goods Industry Cloud.
There you go.
You notice it went. Okay, cool. All right. There we go. Holding on strong. All right. Salesforce.org now allows donors to donate monthly, select a designation for their gift, cover donation fees, or donate anonymously. Salesforce.org. Is Word still here? Donate monthly. A whole new industry, the nonprofit industry.
Mm-hmm.
So this one had two correct answers. The first is selecting a designation for their gift, and the second is covering the donation fees. So you are able to, as you fill out the form to donate a specific amount of money, you can now select a designation, whether you're donating on behalf of somebody. You did get it right, it was blue. If you want to donate on behalf of somebody, who are you designating this gift for? It also allows you to cover donation fees. I know whenever I donate money, this happens a lot, where they'll often ask me to cover the donation fees so that I can ensure that all of my money that I donate goes directly to the foundation rather than administrative costs. So.
And by the way, I meant to say earlier, and I forgot, your last question was about Einstein Analytics, but Einstein Analytics isn't Einstein Analytics anymore. It has been renamed, rebranded.
Really?
And Aldo is shaking his head. I'll let Aldo, you do the reveal. If you know.
It's the Tableau CRM stuff, or CRM Tableau or something like that.
Tableau CRM is now the new name for Einstein Analytics. So if you thought everything is getting renamed Einstein, now it's not. Tableau CRM. And I think, by the way, I think before you click next, I think that with Spring 21, they've made Tableau CRM available for all. So there's still going to be limits, and of course you'll need to buy additional stuff if you want to do some cool stuff with it. But Einstein Analytics was, I'm pretty sure what I'm saying is right. So if somebody knows that I'm wrong, please stop me. But I think that it's now available as a starter pack, kind of without additional licenses. I'll check.
So I can get in my DX scratch org. Is that what you're telling me now?
Well, you should have been able to do it in your DX scratch org the entire time.
All right, next question. What new product helps with applicants and admissions teams in Education Cloud? Admissions Connect, Dynamic Status, Einstein for Admissions, or Lightning Education?
Blue is a good color.
Blue is a wonderful color.
Education Cloud, another industry.
Exactly, Cole. I'm with you. I mean, I was like, you know, you weren't wrong when you said you come to these meetings to find out what it's actually in the release notes. That's why I come.
Admissions Connect.
I mean, honestly,
my first Salesforce product was actually doing this exact product where we were working on admissions. So it's cool that now it's, you know, fully automated.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, I think I was right about my statement. I think Tableau CRM is available for everyone now.
There you go.
That might be a question coming up too. So.
Oh, sorry.
Ooh, Regan, high timer, woohoo!
Oh wow,
it's holding strong.
Yeah, but not by much anymore.
Right.
That's all right.
What new Tableau feature will tableau your mind?
Wow.
Prep builder.
Wow. All right. Don't say anything
prep.
about my questions ever again. No.
I will.
What's wrong with this question?
Oh my God.
I actually like that. I like that. Lacey, I support you fully.
Thank you.
Oh my God. I mean, we've gone international and this is what, no, anyway.
Prep builder data prep and dashboard components are now available on Tableau. Analytics, Tableau is an analytics product, so.
But that doesn't blow your mind.
It doesn't blow your mind. Okay. All right, Colby, highest timer.
Okay. Last questions, guys. This is
All right,
for the
last
big
question,
money.
drum roll.
There's only
For the big
360
money.
points between Eric and the next, so let's see.
Appointment assistant for field service will help customers fill out request forms, automatically translate forms into customer's preferred language, plot field workers' appointments into the most efficient route, or provide real-time updates on worker location. I'm getting the certification now. I'm very excited about this one.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, we didn't ask who got new certifications this month. Crap.
We can still do it after this, even though a bunch of people left already.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It provides real-time updates on worker location.
So happy.
In your, it actually will do
talking to a lot
this
of
in
people.
your customer's preferred method. So whether that's texting them, whether that's an app that you have them download, yeah, it'll just however your customer wants to be notified, it will notify them.
Oh my God! Look at that beautiful girl right there. Oh my goodness. Why did they name it appointment assistant? They would make more sense if that was the orange field answer. Okay, never mind. That's a little confusing. Cool. All right.
You can be confused. You're allowed to be confused. Okay, who's our winner?
All right.
Who's the winner?
All right, in third place, a 21 out of 35, not developer. In second place, 22 out of 35, Keith. And in first place, with 21 out of 35, Eric. Yay!
Excellent.
Woohoo! And you got confetti, guys, which is, you know,
all the swag for
with
tonight.
our two runners up, Deepak and Danica as our runners up.
Awesome, guys. This was actually a lot of fun. Okay, Stella, you go now. Bye.
Bye, Stella.
You think the bathtub is ready? That's awesome. Sorry, guys. Yeah, awesome. So, Eric, and who is not a developer, by the way? That's Aldo. Aldo, it might be a little bit more difficult to get you swag. And
oh, no problem. It's give it to the next one in line.
I'll buy you a beer the next time we catch up. How about that?
I will take that. Thanks, John.
Who was our fourth place, Lacey?
Danica.
Danica, awesome. So Danica, Heath, and Eric, you guys are getting your swag next time we meet, if we ever meet again. In person.
Woohoo!
Awesome. Okay, so with that, I will just share my screen again.
Yeah.
And so really, at this point, this is your opportunity to bring up anything that you might have to say, any questions you may have about what we talked about today or about anything else. And if there's quietness, I like it. We're pretty much done. So just the last announcement, obviously you know how to reach out to us. You are here, so hopefully you've received the invitations. Reach us, tweet us. We love to talk with you guys, and hopefully we might have some more announcements next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
I hope you had fun too, and I hope you learned something new.
And we'll see you again, hopefully.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
I
guys.
had a great time. Thank you.
Have a good
Nice
Bye,
to meet
everybody.
Night.
Good to
Thank
see you.
you.
Cole.
Thank you, everyone.
There you go. Awesome.